Scary Ollie Production. Hey everybody, this is Dino
and Michelle
with our podcast, and we have some amazing guests. They've got a fun movie that's coming out October 1st, right?
Yep.
Through the Horror Collective, called MASS HYSTERIA. And I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves, if you don't mind.
All right. I'm Ariel, and Ariel Smino, and I directed and produced the movie with Jeff Ryan, which I'll have Jeff also directed and produced and acted in the film. And then this is Luke Deerdorf, who also acted in the film. He plays Charlie.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Luke, are you going to introduce yourself?
I affirm that information.
That information is true.
That is true. I'm Luke Deerdorf, and I was one of the actors.
Okay.
This is not a visual platform, Luke. You have to...
Christopher O'Connell. I was one of the writers for MASS HYSTERIA.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Gina.
Waiting for Gina to finish.
That is so kind. My name is Gina. I played Paige in MASS HYSTERIA.
Okay.
And my name is Matt Perouse, and I am one of the producers as well as one of the actors. I played Samuel Hale.
Okay.
And I'm Jeff Ryan, and I am one of the directors, as well as I play Turner. And I didn't know this was not visual. I changed my background to be lovely trees.
Well, I'm recording the video, so...
Oh, perfect.
I am getting you, so this will be YouTube as well. And then I'll probably rip the audio and put it as a segment on my podcast. So, yeah, you'll get...
Double exposure.
all the exposure you need.
Oh.
Okay, so going into it, we did watch the film, and I really enjoyed it. It was definitely fun. I mean, first thing off the bat, you've got a tight runtime here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're clocking in just a little bit over an hour, yet it's jam-packed. Was that the original intent on the movie, or was it a large concept that got cut down? Or, I mean, because it seemed like an odd runtime at about an hour 6.
Well, Jeff Ryan here, and I would 1,000% agree with you. It was so it was a traditional like 90 to 100 page script. Chris could give us the actual page count, but I mean, usually, you know, when you're breaking down a script, it's like a page a minute is what you kind of bank on. And in our scenario, it was like a very weird ratio. It just literally, I don't think we cut anything. In fact, we actually added scenes after the fact. And it just was so fast. Everything was just like fast paced, and that's kind of the vibe we were going for. But I don't think we realized that the runtime was going to be as short as it was. And I think looking back, we probably wish that we were able to extend it and probably get more scenes. And that's, you know, I'll take the fault for that, because I was definitely like, let's faster. And that was, you know, I'm like, now like, oh, we should slow it down a little bit.
Okay, and let me just real quick, because we didn't even talk about what the film was about. But you know, this is a horror comedy type of film. To me, I got a lot of vibes of like Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, the Cornetto trilogy. And it's about a theater troupe in Salem that do reenactments of the witch trials, and hijinks ensue. I mean, I really don't want to give too much away, but like I said, it comes quick, it comes hard. It's definitely not what you would call, you know, a slow burn on that. And you know, you had a comment. You know, we're both, you know, involved with our local theater as well. And so that's something that kind of spoke to us.
Yeah,
And
it got started with our children. I'm a homeschooling mom, so I wanted something for our children to be involved in, so they can, that age-old question: how does a homeschooler socialize? Well, we do it through the theater. One of the ways we do it is through the theater. So one of the things that I grabbed onto right away was I liked any movie. I can't recall watching any other movie involving a smaller theater or theater at all that actually used theater speak. I loved when I heard, the director would say, 20 minutes, till curtain, and everybody would go, thank you, 20. I don't think I've ever seen one that actually put that in there. So that really stood out. I like that.
Yeah, that's great. Pretty much all of us have some background in theater, except for, Chris, you haven't really done any theater, but you've certainly had a lot of friends who grew up in the theater world. So we were definitely excited to poke fun at some of those theater tropes with those characters. And I'm sure Chris enjoyed making fun of some of his close friends in that sense too.
Yeah, I'm a terrible actor, so I just choose to make fun of them. Yeah.
And I think historical reenactors up here in Massachusetts. There's a big group of them with Plymouth Plantation and the Freedom Trail in Boston, and of course Salem. And there's this whole community of historic reenactors who do this as a living and work throughout the year. And some of us have been involved, sort of the merge between theater and history, and kind of taking a look at that juxtaposition between people that are so passionate about the history versus all these tourists and what they come for, and they're not maybe as interested in the history. They want the more theatrics and sort of the comedy that comes from that meeting.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. I know I think here in South Carolina we've got a lot of Civil War reenactments. We've never been to one. We've only been here since 2011, late 2011, and we have not been to one yet.
No.
This might spur us to actually go.
I
That's the sequel.
Yeah, I grew up in Bedford between Lexington and Concord, and so there was always reenactments going on, but they were always at like 6 a.m, and I never wanted to go because it was.
You have to get the lighting right.
The lighting right.
Now, one of the themes that I picked up in the film, like I said, the theater troupe, hijinks ensue, and I kind of brushed over that. But it is, something happens, where this reenactment kind of gets taken a little too seriously by the spectators, and you're really going through a witch hunt. A reenacted witch hunt becomes a real witch hunt, led by this fanatical Christian guy. And our podcast in particular deals a lot with, because we are Christians also, and we deal with how do Christians navigate culture, especially being Christian horror lovers the way we are, and raising up our kids to be horror lovers. And how do you navigate those waters between, enjoying, morbid material, gleaning actual truth and relevance from them, and, cursing everything. So that, and how do we quite honestly, how do we not be a douchebag to the world, because we have a different angle on things,
Sure, yeah.
And that really kind of spoke to us. Yeah, okay, because you do realize that a lot of the, what am I trying to say here?
I have no idea.
No, a lot of the stereotypes that come through popular media of Christians, the church lady, stuff like that, are things that Christians have written for themselves, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a due criticism of the way Christians criticize others.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a very fair point that your film is making, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in our film, especially with the sort of street preacher, he I wouldn't ascribe him to a certain religion or denomination. I think he was sort of a cult, a figure of a cult leader in that sort of mob mentality, the type of person whom can fire up the crowd and get them sort of lead them, in this case in a very bad way. And so he, but I can totally hear your point. But yeah, I think in our film, he wasn't necessarily a Christian per se, but he was sort of a charismatic cultist at best. At best.
And picking up on the actual history of the Salem witch trials, we all know it was, Puritans, who are a denomination of Christianity, that took this whole thing to a very extreme level and had, the accused reciting the Our Father, and if they messed up, then they must be a witch, and there is this chaos that kind of ensues as a result of their religious beliefs and their fear of the devil and the devil being inside of these women. So there's definitely a correlation in the history to Christianity. And so I think in the movie, it makes sense that one would think Samuel Hale is, is a direct correlation to that kind of thing that happened in the actual event. But I think in modern times, him being like a doomsday cultist kind of adds a little bit more creepiness, I think, to it, and makes him a little more unbelievable as well, with the white suit and, it's very creepy.
Right. Well, I think the way the ambiguity of it came across is people can read into it maybe where they are and where they're coming from. So we saw it as Christians, we saw it from Christianity, but somebody maybe from another religion or another denomination would be able to read where they're coming from into it.
Right.
Absolutely,
Any kind of extreme view. Right. Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time making sure that Samuel Hale was, because if you in the first 16 minutes of the film, he is ignored and basically made fun of by the very people who follow him in the next 5 minutes. And it's how can someone take advantage of a situation that could have just put down and been fine. And then here's this person at the right place, right time, who wants to take advantage and does so very well, but only because of extreme circumstances.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. So how did this project come together? As far as, you guys getting together, because it feels like an intimate project, and I could be wrong on that. I just kind of got that from it.
Yeah, so we all have made a movie together, and we made Youthman was our first film, and it was all a big kind of collaboration right at the beginning between Jeff, Chris, and I doing like a writer's retreat. We locked ourselves in for like a weekend and like drafted an outline and slowly started putting all the pieces together. And so we have all been friends for a long time, and so it is a very intimate project. And yeah.
Do you have? Is there anything that we have not touched on that anybody would like our audience to know about the film?
No, just sort of, Dino, picking up on what maybe you were feeling from it. As you know, we when we said we wanted to do this film, we would meet with people, and we said it would be, this is what we're looking for a budget, and they said, you're crazy, don't even bother. And he definitely plowed forward with about an eighth of what we wanted originally, and so an eighth at best. And so I think a lot of the sort of the community feel that you're feeling is we called in a lot of favors to a lot of friends and a lot of especially, from everything from props to locations to costumes to actors,
Food.
and extras, food. Literally, it takes a village. And so
I was reading the whole food thing as it was on the credits as it was going by, and I actually did realize that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so I'm actually glad that you got the vibe that we were, close together, and community was definitely, we spent 35 nights, all night filming this. And if we weren't a family after Youthman, which was our previous film, we definitely were now.
Okay. Now, Youthman, is that available anywhere?
Yeah, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll break the bad news for everyone. That's what the movie is. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I think I'm having some connection issues.
Oh, you're fine.
But the movie's finished. It played festivals, but we have some music licensing issues for distribution, so we're trying to figure that out before we can release the film. We had a guy redo all the music except one song, so if anyone's listening here and they want to see an awesome movie and they have like a lot of money, but they want to just spot the money for this song, just reach out. We'll have a talk.
And Youthman goes into, as maybe you could tell from the title of Youthman, Youth Ministry, it goes into all of our backgrounds with our Christianity and Christian education and Christian camps in particular. We wanted to make a comedy. It's a mockumentary style about our experiences in the Christian community as young adults, and a lot of our friends as young adults, and hearing their kind of like crazy stories about the strange things that you do at Christian camp and like the wacky things that
we've been there. We've been there as well.
Something right up our alley.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a great movie.
We were Sunday school teachers and youth ministers. And
there you go.
Okay.
Oh, well, let's put it
Perfect.
3 weeks after becoming a Christian, they threw me into youth ministry. I'm like, what? Wait, we thought we were going to just be hanging out with friends, and we got into the room and they had just a bunch of chairs in a circle, and they sat down and they handed us a background check. And I'm like, you need a background check for me to be your friend? Okay. And they're like, no, you're our new youth leaders. And we're like,
oh my gosh.
Huh?
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
Sign right here.
I think you'd really like Youthman then.
Yeah, you would love it.
If only we had that money for you for the music.
Thank you.
So, how did you get involved with the horror collective? I'm a fan of almost everything they've been putting out lately. So how did that begin?
Yeah, one, we're just like, anyone who's worked with them, I think, has just spoken so highly of them. And when we were about to sign with them, we spoke to a few filmmakers, and they were just, honestly, they're the best. Shaked is just incredible. Heidi's incredible. Jonathan's incredible. And the way they found us is one of our producers, Kay Lynch, helped us put on a Facebook Live premiere when COVID first kind of was a thing, right? Was it at the beginning of COVID?
Yeah.
And
Seems
we
like
did
a
it because we were
lifetime
just,
ago.
I know, oh my gosh, it seems like months ago. But yeah, we promoted it a lot, and we ended up having 10,000 people watch the movie on the Facebook Live event. And somehow I think they knew Kay from Kay's relationship at Salem Horror Festival, which is the festival he runs. And when they saw our movie and reached out, and we kind of just had a discussion, and I think it was the first company that's ever reached out that was so honest, so upfront, and so genuine in like everything they talked about. So we're just really grateful, and they've done an incredible job giving us the time and the helping us walk through things that we're not familiar with as like newer filmmakers, and it's been great. Yeah, so we're really grateful for them.
Fantastic. Okay. And once again, this is going to be available October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Please?
Yep.
Through Vimeo.
The
And
Vimeo, iTunes, like Apple TV, iTunes, Google Play, Xbox, I believe, Amazon TV, like rental, and I think every rental service for the most part. I think we're still figuring out a few things, but yeah, pretty much everywhere.
fantastic. And we'll be spreading the word about it, definitely.
Thank
We'll
you.
reach as
Yes,
many as
please.
we
Thank
can.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you so much.
definitely. My pleasure. Gary Harley Production.